Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Was just watching BookTube, and I saw that my good friend Mark over at Book Time with Elvis did a tag, and the tag was called the Reading Pet Peeves Tag. And he happened to tag me in that, and so I thought I would go ahead and do my version of this tag. And this tag was originally created by Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. And there's been several people out there that have done this tag. Mark ended up doing, tagging people at the very beginning so he wouldn't forget. And maybe I should go ahead and follow up and do the exact same thing. So if you get tagged here and you've already done it, just ignore me. And yeah, there's a lot of tags out there, so sometimes it's easy to, get confused on what's been done and what hasn't been done. So for this tag, the Reading Pet Peeves tag, I am going to tag Todd at Todd's Bursting Bookcase. I haven't seen a video from him in several months, and I always enjoy his channel, so I'd love to see him do it. I'm going to tag Scott and Becky over at the Bookish Bryants, because I haven't seen them do a video in a long time and haven't heard from them. I'm going to tag Erion and Prometheus at Book Zealots, because I know they like doing tags. I'm going to tag Ryan at Book Time with Ryan. What do you think, Ryan? I finally got your name right. I didn't call you Mark. And then I'm going to tag Mrs. Thomas over at Book Talks with Mrs. Thomas. So anyway, again, this is the Reading Pet Peeves tag. I'll leave the links to all these people's channels. I'll leave the link to Mark and Alan's videos. I'll leave those down in the description below so that you can check all those out. And they all got great channels. Go check them out and subscribe and like the videos and all that good stuff. So, number one on the Reading Pet Peeves tag, do you use or read along with audiobooks? Now, if you've watched the channel for very long, you know I don't use audiobooks all that much. But I have found recently in the last year or so, I have been using them more often because my local library has, what is it? It's Hoopla, and they offer books on that, and so audiobooks, and you can check out 5 per month. And so I have been trying to take advantage of that because the more I thought about it, I have a lot of extra time in my day where I could be, getting reading in. So give you an example, doing the dishes, because we don't have a mechanical dishwasher. It's all done by manpower, me. And so, there's a half hour's worth of time I could be listening or, reading a book. And so I've been putting audiobook on or listening to BookTube videos. Walking to school, because it takes me, 10 minutes or so to walk to school and then walking back. So there's another 20 minutes total each day. When I'm sitting in my classroom getting stuff around in the morning, if I don't have to concentrate, I'll turn that book on. So I have found, various parts of my day where I could listen to an audiobook and get some extra reading in. I know it's not reading, it's listening, but yeah, it's a way to cover another book. Now, for audiobooks, I don't use things that like I need to take notes and stuff on. So if it's something serious that I'm using for my classroom, that I might take notes and stuff, I don't do stuff like that with audiobooks. It's usually stuff that I can put on in the background, and if I miss something, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I mean, not that I'm not paying attention, but sometimes I'll space off if I'm listening to an audiobook. So anyway, that's my answer. So number 2, do you utilize your local library? I do utilize my local library. Sometimes I have to tell myself not to utilize it because I've got so many books here at home that need to be read. But my local librarian, she does a really good job of bringing in, like on the nonfiction side, a lot of times she's thinking of me when she orders books like, would he like this? Because I know I'm one of the people at the library that checks out nonfiction stuff the most. So, yeah, I do utilize the local library. Number 3, do you DNF books? So if you're new to BookTube and you don't know all of the is it acronyms? Is that the right word? The DNF means did not finish. And do you DNF books? For me, Not very much. My answer is about the same as Mark's. He was, saying he most of the time finishes stuff. I am the exact same way. I could count in the last 3 years. I think I've DNF'd 2 books, maybe 3. I think I know 2 for sure that I've DNF'd. One of them just had, I don't want to call myself a prude. I could deal with some content, but when the whole book is, when it's being thrown at you, certain just inappropriate content, sometimes it just makes me sick. And so I DNF'd a book for that. And then the other one that I DNF'd, I just did not like. And it was on the American Revolution, in probably maybe the only nonfiction book I've DNF'd. And like Mark, I've got several sitting on the side that I started and then I got out of the mood for reading them. So they have a bookmark in them and I have not finished. So I guess technically they're on the DNF list, but they're not on the permanent DNF list, if that makes any sense. I usually come back. I always come back to them. What am I saying? Sometimes it's years. Sometimes I've had books, I put a bookmark in it, I had started it, put it back on the bookshelf, and just forgot about it. The book Freedom by William Safire. I came back to that one. I'm reading it right now, and I started it years ago. So sometimes it takes me a while, but I do come back and reread. Number 4, do you read multiple books at the same time? Yes. And my wife and my daughter both just scratch their heads at me because they're like, how are you keeping all these stories straight? And I don't know how I do it. I just do. But over on my desk, I've got over 10 books that I'm in the middle of. And because I'm a mood reader, I like to have a lot of options, because I hate to be in the middle of a book and then I just get out of the mood. I put it down and I don't have anything else to read. Sometimes my mood changes and I want to read, instead of nonfiction, I want to read some fiction. Or instead of serious, I want to read funny, stuff like that. And so I always have multiple books going at the same time. And a lot of times I've also found that, like, in the morning time, that's my main reading time, and I could focus the best. So I get up about 4 o'clock in the morning, and during the school year, when school's going, I leave for school at 6 a.m. to walk to school. And so I have about an hour and a half to 2 hours of reading time there where I drink my coffee, I read. If I'm going to eat anything, I usually do it then. And then there's, some reading throughout the school day. But then at the end of the evening, I've gotten to, in the past couple months really, where I've started reading at night instead of watching TV. I've kind of changed my routine. And that's when I read my fiction books, because I usually know I'm kind of tired. I can't concentrate nearly as well. And, with my nonfiction, I don't want to miss something because I'm using that for my classroom as well. So I don't want to miss anything. And I guess it's not that I want to miss something in my fiction, but it won't hurt me in my, in my teaching, if that makes any sense. So, yes, I do read multiple books at a time. Like I said, my wife and my daughter don't understand how I do it, but I do. Number 5, do you make time or have a specific time in your day devoted to reading? So basically just answered that. From 4 to 6 a.m. All year, and then during the summer it stretches from 4 to 8 o'clock. And then in the summer I also usually, like this year, I wasn't coaching baseball or softball or anything during the summer, and so I had my midday time when my daughter went and laid down for quiet time. I had an hour or two right in there where I could read a book if I didn't have anything to do around the house. So and then in the evening, like I said, before bed, I've been reading a little bit. Number 6, do you dog-ear books? For me, absolutely not. I do not dog-ear books. I can't, personally, I can't stand that. I mean, if it's your book and you don't mind, go for it. For me, I can't stand it. Matter of fact, when I get a used book, which is, most of the books, if you've been to the channel, I buy a lot of used books. If I get a used book where the ears, where it's dog-eared, I undo it. And you know how sometimes you get like 10 pages in a row that are just barely folded over? I sit and I literally meticulously flatten those out. I'll get my fingernail and get them popped back open because I can't stand that. I don't like dog ear. The closest that I do to dog ear is if I just started a book and I forgot to grab a bookmark. I will take the inside flap of the dust jacket and I will put it in my spot. And you could do that to a certain extent without damaging the dust jacket. If you're in the first 20 pages or so, it's not going to damage that dust jacket. Now you get in the middle of the book, it starts to make the dust jacket kind of bend weird. So I wouldn't recommend it in the middle of the book, but I'll do it at the very beginning until I grab a bookmark. It's not something I permanently do, but that's the closest I come to dog earing. And I know that's not dog earing, but that just shows you I don't dog ear. So let's see here. Number 7, do you annotate your books? It depends on the book. Most of my books, the bulk of them, I do not. My personal Bible, I do. I like to write in, when we're reading scripture at church, and if something strikes me at one point where I want to make sure to make a little notation out in the margin, I do that. Or if the pastor, makes a certain remark that really clicks with me and makes sense for me, I'll make a little notation. Or if there's a tie-in to another verse, I'll make a little notation. So I do that with my Bible, but that's about the only book that I do that. My other books in my collection, I don't. I'm pretty meticulous. If I get one, if I went to the used bookstore and I got one and it had some annotations in pencil, I will take the eraser and erase it out of there. I can't stand it. You can ask my oldest daughter. She sits and laughs at me for it. But it really bothers me. I don't like writing in books, and it really bothers me when it's in ink pen. And I have donated or got rid of a couple of books before because the ink pen notation or annotations were so bad. It just bothers me. Last question, number 8. How do you feel about spoilers? Well, I don't like them. I can't stand if I'm reading a story, watching a TV show, doesn't matter, and my wife tells me what's going to happen at the end, it drives me insane. And she knows it. She'll start laughing at me when I start to get agitated. She'll start laughing at me. I can't stand it. My wife is very well known for going to the end of the book and reading the last chapter before she reads the whole thing, because she tells me, well, I just want to know if I want to read the whole thing. I don't want to waste all that time. And I'm like, but you just ruined the story. So yeah, I don't really like spoilers all that much. Unless I ask for a piece of specific information, I don't want it. I want to learn it as I go, enjoy it as I, enjoy the information as it comes in. So, again, that was the last question. This is the Reading Pet Peeves Tag. And I will tag one more time here. Todd at Todd's Bursting Bookcase. Scott and Becky at the Bookish Bryants. Erion and Prometheus at Book Zealots. Ryan at Book Time with Ryan. And Mrs. Thomas at Book Talks with Mrs. Thomas. Go check out all those channels. Those are great booktubers. They put out great content. This tag was, again, done by Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. And I saw it on and got tagged by Mark at Book Time with Elvis. And I also saw this on Sean D. Standfast's channel as well. So I guess I should mention that. And I'll put the links to all those channels and videos down in the notes below. Go check them out. So thank you for spending some time with me, BookTube. I hope you're having a great day. And until next time, happy reading.